been a little bit behind on the videos, and I seen Chad, I think his name is, over at Green Acres, you know, was talking about partnerships, and I appreciate the shout out, man. But so maybe I just give y'all a little bit more of a background story about this, how this came together, and stuff like that. Me and Cody have known each other since probably the end of 2018, or right at, you know, at the start of 2019. He was cutting some yards, you know, for himself, 5 or 6, somewhere in there. I had been out of it for a while, but, you know, had cut before, just, you know, small scale stuff. But it ended up, he come over to the house and seen I had gotten a new mower, and then, you know, come to find out we had just bought the exact same Radius E Exmark 52s. And when I bought that mower, I had absolutely no intentions of cutting anybody else's grass, but mine. And but I kind of had a desire to get into doing something else, you know, besides my normal job. Just, I don't know, I just had that desire, and Cody does too. So we ended up coming together and making this business. And, you know, I don't think we ever really had the whole discussion, like deep partnership stuff. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we always just said, look, we're just going to make it as even and as fair as we can. And I mean, that's really all it's been, right? I mean, we haven't really had too many issues. You know, in the beginning it was a little bit rocky as far as the level of seriousness that we were taking it. You know what I mean? There was some stuff we kind of did butt heads on a little bit there, but once we figured out that, like, hey, you can actually make some serious money doing this, we just kind of grinded it out, and really hadn't had any issues since then. That was probably, you know, 3-4 months in, you know, but that was basically just becoming a little bit mature to realizing that, hey, we need to be better if we're going to really try to do this on both parts. So it is 50-50 business, and I know everybody's against that, and, you know, it won't work, and all that, and you know, I don't know what the future holds. It may not. There may come a time where we have to decide something. You know, we probably need to get something in. We don't physically have like a copy of anything in writing stating what's going to happen with what if something happens. We probably should. You know, we probably should do that, but I guess to background a little bit more about the relationship, you know, that we do have. I mean, you know, at one point in time, you know, before Cody got married, you know, he was single, had a son, and you know, in that time frame, I don't know if you want me to say this or not, but yeah, I can edit it out. But I mean, just to give y'all a what kind of level of friendship that this is, you know, at where he worked at, I was his beneficiary, you know, and that says a lot, right? I mean, so if something was to happen to Cody, he put it into my hands that, you know, hey, I trust you. You know, you're the only one that I got that I can trust, that'll make sure my son's took care of and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's the level, right, of friendship. Now, I'm not saying that obviously all that can change, right? You know, I mean, something could happen. We could have a falling out, and this thing could be done next week. You know, I'm not saying it won't happen, but I'm saying since day one, you know, we really haven't had any issues. We're a lot similar on a lot of things, and we have our differences too, but they work to good. I kind of go towards what I feel like I'm good at, and then he goes to what he's good at, and, you know, it's just been working. So everybody talks about the cons, and I want to talk about some pros of the partnership. So the one pro for us is we started it from the beginning. We remember where we came from. We remember what it took to get here, and we're both going to equally remember, you know what I mean, that together, you know. So there's never we know what it took to get here, you know, and it's not always been 50-50. I think that's one thing that people get hung up on a lot of times, even when you talk about in a marriage standpoint or something, like I'm putting 50 in, she's putting 50 in. Nah, I'm putting 100% in, and he puts 100% into what he got. And if he can put in 100%, and I know he's doing 100%, and he knows I can do my part then too, then that's how you really make it work, you know. The minute you drop some slack off and expect your partner to pick it up, whether that be your business partner or your wife, that's when you start having problems. You know what I mean? Like, and don't get me wrong now, if somebody starts slacking, you have that conversation. But it hasn't always been fair. You know, there was times where he couldn't get off of work and I had to do it, and there was times when I couldn't get off of work and he had to do it. And I can't go back and tell you if that was an equal amount of time. I'm sure it wasn't. I know it wasn't. But we're looking at the end result. My end result and his end result, like, is the same thing. The end goal is the same thing. So I think that's why it's working for now, right? Another pro to it is, you know, we started, like I said, we started from the beginning together from day one. We had the 2 mowers. I had a trailer that would fit them at the time. We alternated trucks that first year, didn't it?
Yeah.
He drove one weekend with his truck, and I drove one weekend with my truck.
Even the second year.
Even the second year, yeah.
We alternated.
We just always tried to alternate, you know, best we could. Again, probably wasn't down the middle 100% fair, but that's what we tried our best, and you know, to make that happen. So, all the decisions that have been made to this point, obviously, you know, the big like purchasing decisions and stuff, yeah, you know, obviously made together. Our goals are pretty much the same thing. You know, we want to grow a big lawn care company. We want to have employees. We want to have, you know, multiple trucks and stuff. We want to grow businesses. We just want to do things together, you know. So, like I said, I think that's why it's worked out. But I'll tell you another thing that you know, I'd say is probably one of the best benefits, other than having somebody that will stand on the line with you and drop the same amount of sweat and put the same amount of time, blood, sweat, tears, late nights, early mornings. I don't know anybody else that would do it, that would go through it for this long, toe to toe on the same line. You know what I mean? Like, I don't personally know anybody else that would do that. And to be honest, I was getting about a little burnout doing it on the weekends, because I was realizing if we didn't make a decision, we could easily be doing this for the next 3 to 4 years on the weekends, and I just didn't want to be gone all week long and then working all on the weekends too. I didn't want to do that. That kind of stemmed the decision to go full time together. And again, we did it evenly. See, we threw with the idea, what if I quit? What if you quit? You know, what if we both quit? What if one of us quits and tries to get a helper? How would we alternate it? How could it be fair? What would we do? And it just kind of got broke down to that could easily be a mess. So we'll just both do it. And here we are. Right? Seems fair.
Here we are.
Seems fair. So that's how that came about. And you know, another pro to this is he knows how to do everything on here that I do. So what I mean by that is our CRM, handling a phone call with a customer, quoting a job, doing the job, booking the job, scheduling the job, the whole 9 yards. So it takes a load off of me and it takes a load off of him, you know. If I got a ball game one night, for instance, and we got a route issue, he'll go home, log on his computer at his house, fix it, get the route printed out, bring it to work the next day, or vice versa. You know, we don't necessarily have to, you know what I'm saying? You can't do that with another employee, you know. One of the things that I always see people complaining about on YouTube, smaller lawn care companies, is employees and help. All the time. That's like the biggest issue. I literally hear people say all the time, if I just had better help, or if I'd have had so-and-so 3 years ago, or blah, 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 I'd be here, I'd be there. Well, technically, I guess in my mind, and I might be wrong, y'all, but my first employee is him and his first employee is me, and we got the same goal. Our mindset is the exact same. What's in his best interest is in my best interest, and vice versa. So that just seems like a good recipe to me.
Nobody's gonna work harder for your business than you will.
That's a very good statement. Yeah.
You know, it's that simple.
Nobody's gonna care about it either.
But now you've got to trust the partner that you do get, that they're going to go out. If they gotta go quote a job, they might screw it up, but you might want to too.
Yeah.
There's gonna be accidents. You can't be mad about it. You can't do nothing about it, because you probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, we've always tried to be so honed in on every single project. We want to make top dollar, the absolute best that we can. But now that we're full time, we have time. There's things that we're quoting on jobs and stuff that we really don't know, and we don't know how to quote it. We don't know how to do it. We're guessing on how long we think it's going to take us. So, in my opinion, the way you fix that is just generate more leads. Okay, we messed up on this one. Oh well. move on to the next one. You know, I don't know, right? That's all you can do. I mean, we just left a job over there. The guy wants to get a whole pod of sod. He wants to rip up about 120 square foot where an 18-wheeler drove through his yard, put some topsoil down, redo that sod, put the rest of the topsoil in another spot, and finish the sod out over there. I really don't know. You know what I mean? I know I probably can't get a pallet of sod delivered over there for less than $500. I really don't know that it's going to be worth driving and go picking it up myself, because at that point you got to charge for your time. So see, there's a lot of things in that, you know, that we don't know. That's getting a little bit off topic, but just for an example, right? We're kind of learning and in this together, but we can go over there and make some money. I know that. It may not be what we want to make on the job by the time it's said and done, but we'll make some money on it. And, you know, learning together. So I guess we were talking about this last night. Well, if we continue to grow next year, we'll probably have to put an employee in here with us. And what better way, right? We'll probably just alternate the days. So I cut Monday, he don't cut on Monday, but he goes and does some quotes or whatever else. There's always something in this business to do. There's always something, even if it doesn't generate any money, there's always something to do with something. Once you get to the point where you got a couple mowers, a couple trailers, different odd and end things, people calling, you know. So we were already thinking, how can we try to make it fair for each other? Well, one person go with a helper and go cut, and then the next day flip it, you know, reverse it or whatever, something like that. There's things that we can do, but again, always having that business owner in the driver's seat until we get to the point where we can establish and we got enough money coming in that we can afford, I guess, some hiccups, you would say, you know, because right now we got to be really, really careful. We got to be super profitable. And me and him have been making sacrifices since day one starting this business. We never took a dollar from the business until December of last year, basically. 3 solid years, all we did was put money back in the company, reinvest, spend our time, made the sacrifices, reinvested in the business. We're down to, we got like $1,500 we owe on that stupid walk behind Skag. we're about to start using that thing. And we owe on the truck. See, we could have paid every bit of that off and been at 100% debt-free going into this year part-time until we decided to go full-time, and then we thought, we better not do that. We need to leave ourselves enough buffer to start the year, get the marketing process started, yada, yada, yada. You know the gist. So, anyways, y'all, it's been working for us. There's so many things and perks. We're fixing to get the pressure washing business kicked off. We got somebody working on our website right now. I need to do a trailer reveal on that, on the pressure washing video. We're going to probably just do another YouTube channel for that, but, you know, just to let y'all know what we got going on. We're putting pressure washing and house washing and stuff into the mix. Separate business, separate company, simply because we can separate it and we can market different, and that plays a big part in the Google ads and stuff, keywords, how your business is looked up. We were recommended from a big time Southeast Soft Wash. If y'all guys are in the pressure washing thing, we're recommended by those business owners down there to separate it. Don't try to incorporate it together like we see everybody else doing. Just separate it. So that's what we decided to do. Got that fixing to start off. Hopefully that's going to help fill in some time. Maybe that's where me and him have to start splitting up. We got a lot of stuff going, y'all. And we're just trying to figure out how to make it as fair and as even as possible. Now, I do see the issue of, you know, we're going to need the most money, you know, here in this situation. We made good money at our last job, and it's really tough for 2 guys to come out here and make a lot of money. We're sacrificing a lot of time on some of these routes right now because we need to grow so much. We have to grow into new areas, and it takes time to get density built in some of those areas. We're learning a little bit about that. But you know what? We're willing to sacrifice the time. If we have to drive 100 miles to go out and cut $1,000, no, I don't want to put an employee in that situation, but we're going to sacrifice our time and hopefully get this business to as efficient as we can get it as possible to get to the money the quickest, to where we can put an employee in the truck and not have to worry about whether or not he wants to work 13, 14-hour days all week long and have 2 hours of ride time or whatever, right? We want to try to limit that as much as we can. We're trying to get all the bugs fixed in the system, in the whole business, together. And at the same time, learn how to do it together so that he can do it and I can do it. So when we do get employees and a whole batch of new problems, well, guess what? We both know how to handle them. At least we've fixed some of the operating procedures in the business and how we're going to work and how we're going to do things. Two people knows how to do it, you know? That's the goal, y'all. So far, it's been working. I know, you know, like I said, nobody talks about, you know, good things about partnerships and stuff, and it may not be a good, it may not end up to be a good thing. But then again, it may be. You know, I have heard people on YouTube say, man, if so-and-so on YouTube was just down here in my area, if we were able to team up and partner up, golly, we'd make $1 million. You know, I hear people say stuff like that all the time. So it's in your mind. You just, you know, a lot of people don't realize it. And I think it matters too when you talk about partnering, you know. I think you either partner off the jump like we did, or you partner when you have an established business and you can look at your books and you can look at your records and see that you have a profitable business, and the guy that you're talking about going into partnership with can do the same thing. And then at that point, you got it on your own, he got it on his own. If y'all want to incorporate it and merge it together, I think that's about as good as starting from nothing, you know. So that's just our 2 takes on it, man. You know, it is what it is. It's what we decided to do, and so far it's worked. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without Cody, because when we started doing this, I couldn't guarantee those weekends that I would be there every time, and I would have had to mess on my hands, you know, being behind, because like I said, there were some times I wasn't there, and there were some times he wasn't there, but my partner kept it going. I mean, you can't trust nobody else to do that, not off the jump when you're brand new. You know?
Yeah, you gotta be easy on who you pick to be a partner.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I couldn't. There is no way I'd choose anybody else.
No.
I mean, because you know, cause nobody else has got the same drive as you do. Nobody else has that. Nobody wants to work. Nowadays.
No.
They don't want to work, but they want a big check.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you can't get that. Not cutting grass, you can't.
No.
You gotta put it in. You gotta put in some sweat. You know, it ain't easy. Nobody said it's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
But, you know, every day, day in, day out, it's hard. But,
yeah.
you know, hustle's free. It really is. Absolutely free. It costs you a little bit of sweat. Other than that, all you gotta do is hustle.
Yeah, that's right. And y'all, like I said, there's things we've done wrong in this business. You know, I don't know who else would want to jump in the truck and do 14, 15-hour day 2 times in a row, back to back. But when we would do that, we would make, you know, we would make over $3 grand. And that might not be good numbers to y'all. Again, we growed into 5 or 6 different areas, different cities, broad, right? We wanted to be able to go here for a day, here for a day, here for 2 days, here. Like, that's the goal, right? The goal for us is to have a couple trucks in the mix of this business, in between this and the pressure washing. Obviously, at some point when those areas get big enough, the density will be good. You just might have to drive a little bit to get there. Then there's the density, you know. But when you live where we live, you know, you got to go to the areas where the work is. It's not just right there at the house, you know, for us. We got a lot of work there, don't get me wrong, but not enough for 5 days a week. But anyways, yeah. Cody hit the nail on the head right there. I don't know anybody else that would stand right there and drop as much blood, sweat, and tears and time into this. I mean, we worked together all day long, and more times than not this week, we've been on the phone at 10 o'clock at night. His computer pulled up, my computer pulled up, trying to figure out how to send quotes, talk about bids, how to do these jobs, who do we need to call back. You know, it's just a constant. We're trying to go fast paced right now because we got to grow that much to make it. So be real hard to do that by yourself and rely on that guy hoping he shows up at 7 o'clock in the morning. You know, I don't need that problem. I got enough problems. I don't need that problem right now. We got to get efficient and get this thing built up, get it right together. So when we add somebody else in, we got all the bulk of these problems fixed. That's the goal, right? Hopefully. So anyways, guys, that's how we kind of got it set up. We do need to get something in writing, you know, because whether or not we have a downfall or not, life happens, you know, and we need to make sure that when life happens, whatever that is, whether it be on me or him, that this thing is, you know, broke down evenly or whatever, you know. To be honest, we were going to do this like in year one, and we called like an attorney or something, and they said it was going to be like $2,500. And we said, we're trying to get that Laser Z on the trailer. We ain't finna go pay $2,500 at the attorney. You know what I mean?
But
so,
we did have the talk. Like, if something did happen, we had to be big enough men
yeah.
to do a face-to-face and make it as fair as possible.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We did have that talk, but we don't have anything in writing.
Yeah. I guess we don't have anything to hold up in court.
No.
But you know, so far it's word of mouth, and you know, I don't have any doubts. I know that's probably not the best practice with somebody. The old handshake agreement, I guess you'd say. That's what we have right now. But you know, we probably should get that worked on, because now you got, like I say, when life happens, I'm talking about divorce, death, major things. You know, something crazy, right? You know, we need to know what would happen at that point if you were forced to step away, or I was forced to step away or whatever. So, but anyways, guys, we'll get to that eventually. So, appreciate y'all watching, and yeah, man, stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff going. We got some more skid steer jobs coming up, and just busy right now. Hope y'all are busy. Got it in the back of my mind, winter is coming, and it's coming quick. I know it's just now May 1st, but it's going quick, man. It's going real quick. So keep that in the back of your mind. Appreciate y'all.